Hello, and welcome to The Glimpse. Today, we have a very interesting topic for all you at home.
According to Time magazine, coffee is healthy and helps you live longer.
Basically, the article reports on the conclusions of a 10-year-long research study over the effect of coffee on your lifespan. According to the article, coffee, caffeinated or decaf, is correlated to living longer. But we have some issues with the article at hand. One, the article never mentions what about or what part of coffee increases longevity of life, and how can they be sure it isn't due to the water in the coffee? We're all a little bit
or the
confused.
coffee bean. How can they be sure it wasn't due to the caffeine?
Absolutely. Also, the article does nothing to mention what age range of people they studied. We don't know if it's our age, older people, middle schoolers. Not 100% sure about that.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of issues looking into the actual research itself, not just the Time article here, but not to mention when you said the age thing, 40 to 69-year-olds were only tested in an area that was very close to the testing center, so not really a great sample size, as well as the research doesn't mention exactly what about coffee as health benefits, and all the data comes from the UK Biobank.
By the way, what is the UK Biobank?
Well, we're not really sure. None of the articles give us any definitions of the biobank. That's definitely something researchers or anyone reading the article would have to do on their own to learn what that is. And lastly, we found that the self-report was a major issue in the research study. Participants were asked how many cups of coffee they drank a day. So self-report has many issues, and we brought in head researcher Erica Lawfield to go ahead and answer some of these questions we had. Erica?
Thanks for having me on The Glimpse today.
Hi, Erica. So this article is telling us that coffee is healthy and can help you live longer. What do you have to say about that?
As a member of the research team on this study, I can tell you that coffee can be part of a healthy diet, but is not necessarily the healthy component.
So are you saying that the article lied?
Not necessarily, it just stretched the truth a little bit. Did it have anything to say about how we conducted our research?
Yes, the article mentions that you provided health questionnaires and physical exams to 500,000 people and then determined how many people of that group died after a 10-year period.
Well, our research was a little bit more extensive than that, as we had to determine other factors in the subject's death, such as heart problems, cancer, or any other diseases that could have caused death. We also only performed this study on people between the ages of 40 to 69 years old.
Guess the article was not as accurate as it seemed.
Can you tell us a little more about the research that you conducted?
Yeah, so we used data from the UK Biobank and observed these people over a 10-year period. So 9.2 million people between the ages of 40 and 69 years old were invited, and 503,317 participants in total answered our questions. So we had comprehensive touchscreen questionnaires about diet, people received physical examinations, and provided biological samples. So data from 502,461 participants were available for our study. We excluded participants with incomplete data on coffee intake or smoking status, women who were pregnant or unsure whether they were pregnant, and those with no follow-up time. So in total, we actually had 498,134 participants who took place in the study that we used their actual data for. So the types of questions that were asked by the UK Biobank were questions such as, how many cups of coffee did you drink a day, and what kinds of coffee did you drink, such as ground coffee, instant coffee, espresso coffee, or decaf coffee. So I just want to note that something we did really well in this study was the statistical analysis. So statistical tests were two-sided, and we had a p-value of less than 0.05, which was interpreted as statistically significant. We used Cox proportional hazard regression models to estimate hazard ratios with a 95% confidence level. We also adjusted correlation coefficients for coffee intake and genotype, adjusting for age, sex, smoking status, and genetic components.
Seems like your research was done very thoroughly. As someone who took a research development class in college, I have a few criticisms about how your study was done. And we discussed this a little bit before you came onto the air, but I'd love to get you a chance to listen in. So the first thing is, when looking through your survey, I found no data taking into account people's health before they started being surveyed, aside from smoking status and pregnancy. There are a lot of other genetic factors that can affect health, and I feel that the study would have benefited from surveying those. Second, the range was fairly small of the people in your study. All your subjects were between the ages of 40 and 69 years old, and they all came from the surrounding area that the UK Biobank was located. I think that it would have been better for the study if the age range was larger and you had a more broad variety of surveyed people. Your study also measured how many cups of coffee a person drank. There was no specification if this was imperial cups or a standard coffee size, and I feel that there would be more statistical evidence for surveying caffeine intake versus just the actual liquid beverage.
Which is weird because it mentions caffeine right in the title, but it says that caffeine doesn't have an effect, which I have a big problem with that.
Yeah. And then finally, I'm not sure that you should be drawing the conclusions you did from your study. The UK Biobank, from the research that I've done of it, it seems to ask very broad personal questions, and there wasn't anything that was specifically about a coffee study other than, did you drink coffee? How much coffee did you drink? So I feel that you needed to be more specific with the surveying and to ask even more questions about the coffee drinking habits, just so you could draw better conclusions.
Note taken.
All right, well, we made some great points today on the glimpse, and I'm really happy with what we discussed here, guys. So thank you so much to everyone at home who tuned in, and have a great night.
Oh, Erica, do you want some coffee?
No, I'm more of a tea person.
The Glimpse is sponsored by Java House, the best place to get your brew on.